West Ham won, Man City won. I'm here with Matt, and Matt, mixed emotions for me, but ultimately, I think a good result. How are you feeling after that one?
The same, mate. I mean, at the end of the day, we set up to get something out of the game, and we did it. I mean, mission completed, because, as everyone was saying before the game, we had an aggregate score of 22-1 over the last 5 games, 4-1, 4-0, 4-1, 5-0, 2-0. I mean, and you could see what Moyes wanted to do, build on the confidence of last week, getting that result, which was fantastic. And imagine if we'd have gone and got stuff today, we're back to square one. So, I mean, you could see what he did. Even you could see from the positions of guys like Masuaku and Sufao, and a lot more defensive today than we've seen them, even though they had their attacking moments, and obviously Sufao for the goal, especially, I mean, cliche, but it was a game of two halves, no? Don't you think?
Yeah. I mean, I agree. I definitely agree. I thought we knew that they were going to come out, completely different, and we might, struggle. And they brought Foden on, but I think the real turning point was Antonio.
Yeah.
Seems to be picking up a hamstring. I'm not sure how bad it was, but yeah, that seems to change the game.
Well, without a doubt, I mean, you could see that they were struggling with Antonio. I mean, physically, like we've talked about so many times, he's such a pain in the ass. I mean, even in the first half, Bowen had Cancelo on the back foot a lot. He was really struggling. I mean, and then Cancelo was giving us a hell of a job up. I mean, that was another thing when they changed him to the right hand side. I think that helped us a lot because he was a lot less effective, Cancelo, against us on the right hand side for the last 20 minutes compared to the left hand side. But you're right, mate. Losing Antonio, and when we talked about the trickery and the build up play that we got from Yarmolenko last week, this week we got none of that. We got absolutely none of that. And like a lot of guys are saying on Twitter, if Antonio went off and Haller was on the bench, why didn't we get Haller on as a direct 1-for-1 replacement? I mean, you could see when Haller comes on, he doesn't put in not even 30-40% of the work rate that Antonio does. And I mean, I think that's a key part to our game. That press from the front. I mean, Fornals that runs like, nobody's business. And I mean, bringing Yarmolenko on, I don't think he did it today. And we got to ask, why was Lanzini not brought on? I mean, apart from his goal, he did start to move the ball around and give us that little bit of oomph last week. Why don't you think Lanzini was brought on, mate?
Yeah. And build on his confidence as well, because that's one thing you want to build on. And I think that's the issue when you take off Antonio and Bowen and bring on Haller and Yarmolenko, you're sacrificing a lot of pace.
Yeah.
A lot of pace there. And I think that seems to be the problem. It's a lot of our counter attacks sort of fizzled out, and the ball came straight back at us.
Yeah, errors, passes to nothing. Because, like you say, if you're used to, there was some really fluid passing in the first half. One touch, and I'm talking one touch passes over 20-25 yards, which is not something that we've been used to over the last couple of seasons. Coming out from Rice to Souček to Sufao, for example. And it was really nice football in the first half. And we, like you said, when we lost the pace, we didn't get those guys into positions, and plus we lost the attacking threat of Masuaku and Sufao. And I mean, Masuaku did so well in so many defensive positions today, but God, he's got to let the ball run. He's got to let the ball go sometimes. He just overrun that. He was going back to Masuaku a couple of years ago when he dropped out of the team. He just got to let that first ball go. Look for the wall pass. Look for the 1-2, and get on his bike. But I mean, he's trying to run out against a Man City team that's famous for its press, famous for its intensity. And I mean, there was a couple of times that we nearly got unstuck there, and like you said about Yarmolenko as well, that iffy pass right at the end, that I don't know where the hell that was meant to be going. We nearly lost that one at the last minute as well. I mean, look how Fabianski getting a great result there. But I mean, you've got to say, mate, even though all of these things, we did look much more organised. We looked much more structured. The transition between attack and defence looks much clearer. And we obviously had a game plan. Our game plan there was to push them out wide so they hit in high balls. Because City, when they start fizzing low balls in from a wide position, either cutting them back or fizzing them in at the first post, they're really dangerous. They got a lot of guys that will get goals there. but we didn't. We stifled them out. We pushed them so they were crossing balls. And how many headers did Ogbonna, Balbuena, and even Masuaku and Creswell win?
Exactly. And another big positive as well is they brought on De Bruyne fairly early in that second half, and we was all like, here we go. Yeah. And you know, we dealt with him. We didn't concede. I mean, they had a lot of opportunities with him, but the fact of they brought him on and we thought, right here, they're going to get going, and we still held on, I think is a massive positive. He's a world-class player.
No, and we didn't run around like headless chickens, because often that's what happens with us, you know. We a guy like De Bruyne comes on and we start running all over him. No, like we've been talking about, you can see the plan. You can see what Moyes wants us to do when we're not in possession. And look, I didn't see the possession, but I'm sure it was close to 80-20 today.
Yeah.
But we didn't panic. We did. Okay, there was a few moments of errors, sloppiness towards the end, maybe fitness levels, you know, maybe that's why we didn't see Ben Rama in the squad, because it's very obvious that Moyes isn't willing to give game time to people that aren't up to his fitness levels, you know, and that's why we got Fornal still in the team, even though there's a lot of critics. And you could see that wonderful chance at the end. I thought to myself, if that had been anyone else, but you could see, you could see the life going out of Fornals as he made that sprint. You could see.
I think if Yarmolenko's in that position, he can make something happen with that.
Yeah, you could see it was like a video game. The battery was draining, the life was draining, the red bar was going down on Fornals, and by the time he got there, but I mean, he's one for the future. He's young. We've got a few more good seasons, and whether or not he's in the news or he's published, Souček, the motor of the team. I mean, God forbid everyone talks about Rice, but God forbid something happens to Souček. I mean, Souček really is the motor of the team right now. I mean, he's the unseen hero. You know, 90% of the work he does you don't see, but he's everywhere. He's box to box. And I'm talking with my Arsenal mates, talking about how they're saying Partey is coming in and being the new Vieira. I mean, we've got Souček, mate, and for not even anywhere near that price, you know, and he's putting it out there. And I'm sure Partey's going to be good, but what do you think about Souček?
Yeah, I think you're right. I agree. I was saying this on the live stream to somebody who was talking about Arsenal, talking about Partey, and it's like, okay, look, he could be good, but and so Souček has been doing it in the Premier League for all this time. We've seen him what he's done, but he goes under the radar because he's at West Ham. Partey could go on to become a better player in the Premier League, but that's how you're judged, and Arsenal fans will be up in arms. But give him a chance. Like, they don't just hype up the player. But what we've seen of Souček, we've seen Souček since January. But because he's at West Ham, and if he was at Arsenal, Souček, people would be, you know, lauding him. So, yeah, great player. And
he's like a Kouyate that knows how to defend.
yeah, exactly. I mean, we've got Liverpool next. Big game. Alisson is said to be back. Anything we can get from that is a big bonus.
But like we say, here's another point we didn't expect.
Yeah.
You know, and you just got to keep notching them up. You know, I mean, whilst the Premier League's up in the air like it is, and I hate to say it, maybe an empty stadium is doing us a couple of favors. Maybe it's allowing us, you know, maybe it's giving the players a little bit of freedom just to play a little bit more, because I mean, this start to the season has been hellish, you know, and picking up these few little points here and there, I'm really sure is going to make a big difference, you know, and this could be the difference between talking about 14th and below and looking at 8th to 12th position this year, you know, and I'll be really happy to consolidate on that and then just make a couple of smart signings for the summer and pick it up. I mean, fantastic, mate. One perfect way to start Saturday, no?
Absolutely, mate. Couldn't say it better. So, yeah, brilliant. Well, thanks for coming on, Matt. And
always a pleasure, mate.
Hopefully we get something next week.
Yeah, I mean, fingers crossed, mate. But I mean, come on, you Irons. We're heading in the right direction, picking up those important points, and you know we're gonna do it. Take care, mate.